So the grade 12s, today we're starting with the last in one drawing that completes the entire paper, and that is prisms and pyramids. I just want to quickly show you what a prism and a pyramid is. So a prism is something like this, where you have a top base and you have a bottom base of a 3D shape. So you've got a square here. There's obviously another one running here which you can't see, another corner. So that is a prism, right? Those are prisms. You get all different types of prisms, depends on the bases it has. So it has a triangle as a base, it's a triangular prism. If it has a hexagon as a base, it's a hexagonal prism. And then a pyramid is where you have an apex at the top, and you have a square or a rectangular base at the bottom. So there's an apex, that is very important, and there's a base at the bottom. Bottom base, top base. Prism, pyramid. So that's a pyramid. Okay, that's a pyramid. Prism. In this question, you can get one or the other. Today, we're starting with the 2014 one. Question paper that the lecturer emailed to you. And that is the octagon, 8-sided shape. And it is a prism because it has a top base in the shape of an octagon and a bottom base, and it is basically slanted. It's slanted on a 45-degree angle, and you have, what they give you is the actual front view, which is the slanted item, and the auxiliary view. Now the word auxiliary means it shows you the shape of what it is like. So the auxiliary view is like a top view, but it's not really a top view. It just shows you the shape of the item, because without the auxiliary view you won't be able to understand what the shape the prism has. So so you have to start your drawing with drawing the auxiliary view. Now I'm going to show you from start to finish. In the instructions ask for you to draw the given front and auxiliary view, and then you must draw a top view from the arrows that you will experience on the drawing T, and then they want a left view on your right hand side from the arrow L. Alright, so let's do that quickly. So what you're going to do, if this is your page, you're probably going to set up halfway. Don't start low, because you've got to have a top view at the bottom here. So you're going to start in the middle, and you're going to draw an XY line there. And then what basically is going to happen is that you are going to create the points on which the drawing slants, right? The slanted point. And because your drawing slants on a 45, you're going to draw that 45-degree line like that, faintly, like that. And for it to be 90-degree base, it will be 45 to that side. They don't give you that specific size because you have to work it out with your auxiliary view. Alright, so what's going to happen is that you will be able to get your length in first, which is your 75. So I'm going to measure 75 from the point that it tilts. So 75 is going to be around about there. There's my 75. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to draw another line like that, which is my top baseline. Right? I won't be able to continue any further here because I have to have my auxiliary view, and then I have to project to complete this front view there. So any distance away you can have your auxiliary view, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start with my auxiliary view anywhere here. So one side of my auxiliary view as an octagon is 20. So I'm going to give myself some space here, and I'm going to say 20 distance for one side. Right, that is my one side on a slant. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep my 45. And if you look at your drawing, then you will see this line goes straight. And when that line goes straight, I've got to measure 20 off on that line as well, because all the sides are 20 millimeters in length. And then like this side goes that way, I'm going to draw a line that side, and that's going to be 20 as well. So I'm going to measure off my 20 there, and then I'm going to draw a line straight up, and I can do the same that side, straight up, and I'm going to measure 20 along that, which is 2 centimeters there, and I'm going to measure that there very accurately. And then I'm going to repeat what I did this side. I'm going to repeat 45 degree that side, and I can do the other side as well, 45 degree that side, and I've got to measure my 20 along that side as well. There's my 20, and I'm going to have my 20 on this side as well. And then all that's going to happen is going to be a straight line there, so that should be 20 as well if you've measured accurately. That is my shape that you see there. I can actually darken that shape if I need to, right? And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to project that shape down. So I've got all my points here of my shape, and I'm going to highlight my points very clearly. These are my points of my octagon, and like I said, I can actually highlight it. Once I have that, I can now project my lines onto my front view. So I'm going to start on the outside, there it comes down, and then I'm going to have these two sides that coincide, and that's going to be my line there, and that's going to be my next line there, and there my line has formed. I've got a center line as well, so if I want to put it perfectly in the center, I'm going to measure probably 10, because it's 20, half of it's 10, so there it is. And then I'm going to do my center line. That is basically just a line in the middle. I can now darken this section over here, so I'm going to darken that line there, and I'm going to darken that line there, and I'm going to darken the sides here. This is a corner, so I'm going to darken that corner there. This is a corner, I'm going to darken that corner there. And this is a corner, I'm going to darken that corner as well. Right, I also can darken this auxiliary view here by drawing that dark. And I always try and keep the lines that are running in one direction, drawing it at the same time. And then just going right around my drawing, completing my dark section. So now you have completed that. It's very important to put in your center line. Center line is a long, short, long, short, long, short line. Very important, you do get marks for that. Right, so it starts with a long one and it ends with a long one. That's my center. And there you've completed. Remember, this is 45 degrees here. Okay, and that's a 45 degree angle. What is very important now, when you work with solids, you have to number your corners. So you can start here, always label it here, and then it projects down. So you can start anywhere. I'm going to make that my number 1, and I'm going to go in an anti-clockwise direction. Number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Those are my 8 points, right? And now I can see that this here at my top base, I've got 1 and 8, I've got 2 and 7, and I've got 3 and 6, and I've got 4 and 5. And I repeat that here: 1 and 8, 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5, and that just makes it a little bit easier for me to understand when I'm going to draw my next view or next views. Right, so I've got one base and another base, so I'm going to start. Now I'm going to project it down for my top view. The first thing that you need to do is probably to get the center line somewhere around here, right? So you can give yourself enough space. So I'm going to draw a faint center line there, right? There. And that's going to serve as this line here. And now once I've got my center line, I'm just going to write here center line just to keep track of that. And then I'm going to project all my points that I have on my top base and all my points on my bottom base. I'm going to project it down. So I'm going to start here. Here are my two first points. I bring it down, way past the center line. And my next 2 points, next past the center line. I don't have to bring my center line one down, but 3 and 6. And then 4 and 5. I bring that down as well. Then I'm going to do the same thing here. My bottom base, bring all these points down so that I can actually construct and complete my top view. Alright, there it is. Now, very important to notice that I have to create the center line here as well, which represents the center line. This center line and another center line running at 90 degrees. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to do it with my set square, and it has to be perfectly in half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my 10 in the middle there, and I'm going to draw a center line there, which is long, short, right, like that. Now what I need to say is that that center line is represented by the center line. So all I have to do is that I'm going to start here. I know for a fact if I keep my finger here, I'm going to keep my finger here, I'm going to be here. Those are my two centers represented. So if I measure from that center to number 1, right? From my center to number 1, I'm going to measure 10 millimeters that way. So 10 millimeters down, and if I go up to 8, it's 10 millimeters up, right? So let's do that quickly. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to go down. I know for a fact that this is number 1 and that's number 8. Number 1 and number 8. And the same I can apply when I go to 2 and 7, is that I keep my point there and I measure, what is it, 7. 7, I can see 7 and 2, they are both 25 away. So I am going to go and track it down. So from my middle point, I'm going to go 25 up and 25 down. And if I go up to this one, I'm going to measure from here that way and measure that way. It's also 25, so it's going to be 25 up and 25 down. And then of course when I get here, it's going to be the same as 1 and 8, 10 millimeters up and 10 millimeters down. And there it is. And then all I have to do is that I have to connect these points. So let's assume that's in line and that's in line, and then I have to draw that one there, and I have to draw this one here, and I have to draw that one there, and I'm doing it all faintly first. I have to draw that. You will see it becomes a squashed octagonal shape. Now you've got to apply the same principle here for this one. Let's do it in a quicker fashion. I know that it's going to be there, and it's going to be there, and it's going to be there. So again, that's 8. That is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I just want to put in this one over here as well. So you're going to find number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to apply the same principle as I did by drawing the lines and connecting them like that. Go, and then just connecting that part there and that part there. Alright. Now, of course, when you view it from the top, and this is where you are standing, you are able to see this entire shape here, but you're not able to see this shape here. So this will be hidden. So what can become dark will be the following. So you are going to draw this shape dark first. Right, that's going to be my shape, that's going to be darkened. Right, because that is what you can see. Right. That's going to be dark. And I'm not going to be able to see this point here, so I'm only going to be able to see that corner there, this corner here, and that corner there. Right? And the rest of it will just be connected like that there. Number 5 goes to number 5, number 4 goes to number 4, and number 3 goes to number 3 there. Right? That's how I'm going to darken it. Sorry. That's how I'm going to darken it. If you need to put in dash lines, I suppose the dash lines will go here and here, because those are not visible, and there. These are the non-visible parts which I can't see, and the dash line will be under that line, but it will come out connecting number 8 to number 8, from that 8 to 8, and then number 1 to number 1, which I cannot really see. The dash line will continue underneath, which we can't see at this moment, and that concludes your top view. Now remember, this is your center line here. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to create another center for my left view. And that center can be any distance away. Any distance away. So I can do that probably around about here. So from there, it goes at 90 degrees up like that there. That's my center. I'm going to write down here center line. But now what I want to do is a quick way of getting all my lines constructed there. I'm going to take that point where I draw it at 90 degrees, and I take my 45 and I draw a line through that there, just like that, 45. Now you're going to see that line connects there, that line connects there. I'm going to extend that line, it connects there, and I'm going to extend that line, it connects there. And then once it gets to the 45 degree line, it makes a 90 degree change. So I'm just going to take it up like that. And we have it. And then these are all the numbers going up like that. All right, we're going to track them now. And then what you do is you have to start by taking your baselines, or your base sides here across as well. I've got number 1 and 8 already across. There it is. So I'm going to take 2 and 7 across, 3 and 6 across, 4 and 5 across. While I'm at it, let me find out where it is. So I'm going to start with number 1. Number 1 is here. I track it. Where's number 1? There's no number 1. That's my number 1. Number 2 is going to be on this line here, 2 meeting up with that number 2 there. There's number 2. Number 3 is going to be on the same line. There's number 3. Right, coming goes. So I know that number 4 is going to be there. Number 5 is going to be there. Number 6 is going to be there. Number 7 is going to be there. If I want to check, here it is. And number 8 is going to be there. Then, faintly, I can connect those points. Right? Faintly, I'm going to connect those points. Right around, like that. Here it is. Just faintly, because I don't know whether I'm going to be seeing it or not. We will check in a moment. And then the same applies for this base here. So you're going to take number 1 and 8 across, number 2 and 7 across, number 3 and 6 across, number 4 and 5 across. And you're going to mark your points number 8 and 1 first on here. That's number 1, that's number 8. And then I've got number 2 here, number 3 there, number 4 is going to be here, number 5 is going to be there, number 6 is going to be there, number 7, right? And then I'm going to join those points as well. So there we go, there, and I'm going to connect that point, and that point, and this point. So I've got my 2 shapes that I see. But if I view it from this side, right, from my L arrow, I will be able to see that surface, that shape clearly, and then the lines going down, I won't be able to see this. So darken that first for me. So this has to be darkened, so I'm going to darken that quickly. There we go. There, and that one there, this one. I'm just drawing it very fast. And then I'm going to see the bottom one here. I'm going to see this to the side. But I'm not going to see that going in. But number 7 must connect with my number 7. That's my side. Number 2 must connect with number 2. These are going to be dash lines again. Dash lines, because I won't be able to see them from this side, and those are the corners that I won't be able to see on that side, which is number 1 running to number 1. So from there it's going to be dashed. I'm just drawing it in freehand, but you should actually use a ruler like that. And there you've completed your front view with auxiliary view, your top view, and there you have your left view. Right, so this is your left view, this is your top view, and that is your front view, and this is your auxiliary view that you see there. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You can do it for me, and then we'll practice on question paper of 2015. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, pose it, and I will be more than willing to help.